Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that touches literally all of our lives, but we're going to look at it through a completely different lens, a lens of absolute empowerment. When we hear the word cancer, it's so easy to just feel helpless, like it's this terrifying, random lottery. But what if I told you that one of the most powerful shields against it is actually being built by you, right now, through the daily choices you control? Yep, we're going to use the latest, evidence-grounded medical frameworks to map out exactly how your everyday lifestyle choices form your ultimate blueprint for prevention. Let's get into it.
Okay, look at this jaw-dropping statistic, 50.6%. According to the Global Burden of Disease study from 2019, over half, literally 50.6% of all worldwide cancer deaths in men were directly tied to behavioral, environmental, occupational, or metabolic risk factors. And for women, it was 36.3%. The medical community calls these modifiable risk factors. Simply put, these are things we actually have the power to change. So you're not just a sitting duck here.
So the crucial point we really need to drive home is this. Prevention strategies focus on modifying environmental and lifestyle risk factors. This completely shatters that illusion of helplessness, right? While screening is absolutely vital for catching abnormalities early, true primary prevention is about actively altering your everyday environment and habits so those abnormalities never even get the chance to form in the first place.
Section 1. The Power of Prevention. Building Defenses. Let's break down the exact medical blueprint experts use to outline how we can build up those defenses.
All right, so our anti-cancer playbook starts with some general lifestyle recommendations straight from our source material. And honestly, it's incredibly straightforward. We're not talking about obscure, super expensive treatments here. It's about the basics. Avoiding tobacco, getting moving, maintaining a healthy weight, eating a plant-rich diet, and limiting alcohol. These actionable everyday steps have been linked to preventing a massive variety of malignancies all over the globe. We're talking lung, colorectal, prostate, and breast cancers. It's the foundation of the whole shebang.
Moving on to Section 2, the big three levers: tobacco, weight, and activity. If you're building a blueprint for prevention, these are absolutely the heaviest hitters you need to conquer first.
We really have to start here. Tobacco use is, hands down, the single most important preventable cause of cancer. It accounts for a staggering 30% of all cancer-related deaths in the U.S. alone. 30%! It's the strongest risk factor for lung cancer, literally multiplying your relative risk by 10 to 30 times. But here's the empowering part. The benefits of quitting can be measured almost immediately. Even if you've been a long-time user, your risk drops significantly the second you stop letting those direct carcinogens into your tissues.
Now check out these numbers. Managing excess weight and just moving our bodies offers undeniable, massive power. Look at the table. One retrospective study actually found that significant weight loss methods, like bariatric surgery, were associated with a whopping 60% reduction in cancer mortality. 60%! And when we look at physical activity, a massive pooled analysis of 1.44 million adults showed that those with the highest physical activity levels slashed their risk of esophageal cancer by 42% and endometrial cancer by 21%. Literally, moving your body changes your entire risk profile.
Section 3. Defending your plate. Food acts as a shield. Okay, let's wade into the complex world of our daily diet and see how it works for us.
So what exactly does a protective diet look like? Well, the evidence heavily favors a healthy diet, rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and high dietary fiber. This type of eating actively lowers the risk of certain cancers, like colorectal cancer. On the flip side, though, we have the typical Western diet, and the developing evidence here is pretty stark. Diets high in ultra-processed foods, think mass-produced packaged breads, sodas, reconstituted meats packed with nitrite preservatives, they're associated with greater than a 10% increase in the risk of all types of cancer. What you're putting on your plate every single day, it matters immensely.
But hey, don't worry, it's not all about restricting the stuff you love. Here's a stat that's always a crowd pleaser. Believe it or not, your morning habit is likely working in your favor. The data shows that for every single cup of coffee you drink per day, you get a significant 14% lower risk of liver cancer and a 7% lower risk of endometrial cancer. And get this, for endometrial cancer, the protective effects are almost identical even if you drink decaf. No way, right? So definitely enjoy that morning cup guilt-free.
Section 4. Invisible threats, toxins, and infections. We've talked about the choices we make at the dinner table and the gym, but now it's time to uncover the hidden hazards. Okay, this one might actually surprise you. Globally, an estimated 13% of all new cancers are caused by infections. Yeah, infections. We're talking about preventable viruses like human papillomavirus, or HPV, which is linked to cervical and head and neck cancers. Hepatitis B and C are strongly linked to liver cancer. Even the bacteria H. pylori is tied to gastric malignancies. But the incredible takeaway here is that through vaccines, like the HPV and Hep B shots, safe sex practices, and routine screenings, we can literally prevent infectious diseases from ever evolving into cancer. Talk about a game changer.
And, it's not just biological threats. It's our physical environment, too. Things like air pollution and diesel exhaust are linked to lung cancer. Indoor radon gas, which can silently build up in homes, is a small but very real risk factor. And if you happen to get your water from a private drinking well, long-term exposure to elevated arsenic levels is strongly tied to bladder cancer. The data just clearly shows that where we live matters just as much as how we live. But the fix is easy. Testing your well water and checking your home for radon are super simple, highly effective prevention steps.
And speaking of the environment, we've got to talk about the sun. The general rules are pretty clear, right? Limit exposure when the sun is strongest, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., wear protective hats and sunglasses, and slather on that SPF 30 or higher. But look at step 4 here. Avoid tanning beds entirely. Artificial UV exposure from tanning beds is straight up classified as a human carcinogen. To put that into perspective for you, using a tanning booth before the age of 35 triggers a horrifying 75% increase in the risk for melanoma. 75%. It is absolutely just not worth it.
Section 5. The Magic Pill Myth. Shortcuts versus reality. All right, let's tackle our modern obsession with quick fixes and see if we can actually buy prevention in a bottle.
We spend literally billions of dollars on supplements every single year, hoping to build some sort of magical shield against disease. But I really want to ask you to reconsider everything you've been sold about dietary supplements when it comes to cancer prevention. So, can a vitamin a day actually keep the oncologist away? Well, the scientific evidence is disappointingly clear here. Multiple observational studies and systemic reviews of supplemental vitamins and minerals for preventing cancer have basically yielded negative results across the board. Vitamin D, the results are totally inconsistent, and it's not recommended to prescribe it just to decrease cancer risk. Selenium, zero beneficial effect in human trials. And here's the truly counterintuitive, kind of scary truth. Evidence suggests that vitamin E supplementation may actually increase the risk of prostate cancer. Yeah, increase it. So unless your doctor identifies a specific deficiency, you really cannot out-supplement a poor lifestyle.
However, while over-the-counter vitamins fail as the magic shield, the medical field of chemoprevention, which means using actual medications to prevent cancer, well, that does show documented promise. For example, the regular use of aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs has been shown to decrease the risk of adenomatous polyps and colorectal cancer. It's a targeted, proven medical approach for at-risk patients, rather than just a scattershot vitamin regimen, which really highlights why these specific conversations always need to happen with your physician.
And that brings us full circle. As we've seen throughout this explainer, you are absolutely not powerless in this fight. From the food on your plate and the coffee in your mug, to your daily walk, to simply avoiding tanning beds and tobacco, your lifestyle is your absolute greatest shield. The data is crystal clear, and the control is largely right there in your hands. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. What is the one actionable change you're going to make to your blueprint today?